In liberal religious sexuality education, we seek to provide roots and wings for program participants. The roots are our Unitarian Universalist religious traditions and values which accept participants and value them for who they are so they can feel good about themselves and their sexuality. The wings are the freedom they have to make meaning of their own lives, the opportunity to clarify their own values and apply them to their own experiences, and the strength to develop into their own true and best selves. Our whole lives, OWL, assumptions are that all human beings are sexual. Sexuality is a good part of the human experience. Human beings are sexual from the time they are born until they die. It is natural to express sexual feelings in a variety of ways. People engage in healthy sexual behavior for a variety of reasons, including to express caring and love and to experience intimacy and connection with another, to share pleasure and to bring new life into the world and to experience fun and relaxation. Sexuality in our society is damaged by violence, exploitation, alienation, dishonesty, and abuse of power, and the treatment of persons as objects. It is healthier for young adolescents to postpone sexual relations. Our guest speakers this morning are Jennifer and Sean Rahner. There won't be a formal discussion after church, but they invite you to bring your questions to them and to ask about the OWL program if you have young children or teenagers who you think would benefit from this. And this Sean and Jennifer Rahner.
I get this side?
You get that side.
Okay.
Hi. Thank you so much for having us here today. I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Sean. So, we know what we're here to talk about today, but first, sex.
In a church.
In a church. Why not? Before we get started, though, I wanted to, just by show of hands, ask a few questions. How many of you have at least one smoke detector in your home? Great. I was a fireman before, so good job. How many of you wore seatbelts on your way over here this morning? Excellent, excellent. Makes my job easier.
He was a policeman, too, and a paramedic.
That, too. How many of you were texting while you were driving on the way over here? I thought I'd get at least one of you. Okay, good job. So, laws about smoke detectors, seatbelts, not texting while driving, these things are all mandated to save lives and to promote better quality of life for the individual as well as the population at large. Seatbelts reduce deaths from traffic accidents by 45%. Smoke detectors reduce death from fires by 50%. And while I don't have a statistic, we've all seen somebody driving poorly and then pulled alongside them at the next traffic light just to see them scrolling through their phone and sending a text message that could have waited. So my question is, why aren't we treating sex education the same way we treat all of these other things when research clearly shows that comprehensive sex education also saves lives?
For instance, it decreases the rate of sexually transmitted infections. A statistic that I pulled up for Georgia, the CDC reports that Georgia is in the top 5 states, the top being bad, for the transmission of chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis. And it's particularly true among the age group of 15 to 24.
Right, and holistic sex education also decreases the number of unplanned teen pregnancies. Once again, Georgia is in the top third of that number, the top being the most, not where we want to be. That's because 71% of teen pregnancies are unplanned. The only good news that we have found in the research is that unplanned teen pregnancies have declined overall in the past 30 years, but that's only in areas where there is comprehensive sex education, not the abstinence-based or abstinence-only that we get here in the South.
Good education is also shown to delay the onset of a person's first sexual experience. And that, of course, helps with both of those things we just talked about. You have less sexually transmitted infections and less unplanned pregnancy the more that you delay your first sexual encounter. Additionally, comprehensive sexual education is associated with reducing stigma, promoting empathy, reducing bullying, and decreasing suicide rates.
While these are all great reasons for teaching quality sex ed to youth, and I really appreciate Chris bringing that up, we're here not just to talk about sex ed for youth, we're here to talk about the importance of lifelong sexuality education. And we say lifelong because our physical, mental, and emotional development doesn't simply stop when we turn 18 years old. Furthermore, if the benefits of comprehensive sex education are so positive for youth, can't we also assume that there are benefits for continued education as we age?
So, what are the benefits of lifelong comprehensive sex education?
My favorite part is that it improves sexual satisfaction and increases pleasure.
It also helps to prevent sexual harassment and assault, which is a topic that's been very timely over the past year with the Me Too and What's Next movements.
Yeah, and all these are tied in together. One other thing is that it boosts confidence in a number of areas.
Including how to satisfy yourself and your partner.
Right.
It helps you to develop a strong sense of personal boundaries and to elicit appropriate behavior from the people around you.
Right, and something that we've dealt a lot with is correcting a lot of the misinformation that we got from the misguided and outdated school and church-based sex education that we received. And furthermore, it provides the opportunity for new knowledge and understanding of new developments in sexual health issues, because things are changing all the time. They're so vastly different than the 70s and 80s when we grew up.
Oh, goodness. So how many of you who are parents are confident or feel confident about having the talk with their kids? Good, that's great.
Not very many, though.
One thing that comprehensive sexual education throughout the lifespan does is gives you the ability to talk authoritatively with your children or your grandchildren about sexuality and development.
And one other thing is, we're all growing. Like I said, development doesn't stop. Our bodies are changing, and understanding our own bodies and knowing what to expect as we age is a great thing, because that helps decrease some of the anxiety about those changes that are happening or that we know are coming.
So understanding the importance of lifelong sexual education is one thing, but finding accurate information is quite another. So where do you find it?
I think it's better to start off talking about where not to find it.
Okay.
I'm going to say something that nobody likes to hear in church, any church, and the word is porn. And
have you been looking at my browser history again?
Not lately. So
that's what you're talking about, right?
Well, I'm talking about that. I'm talking about the websites that we all know exist, magazines and whatnot. I'm also talking about all the magazines that we all see in the grocery store checkout line. Most people don't think of those as porn, but they really are. You know the magazines, Cosmo, and their list of 10 ways to whatever with your partner, Mary Claire, Men's Health.
That one's awful.
All of these things are misogynistic. They objectify the human body, and they put all these unrealistic expectations out there for what sex is or should be, or what you should be doing, or they make all of us think that,
We're not doing it right.
We're not doing it right. And that feels awful when I think that, hey, everybody else is, doing all these great things.
They're in on the secret.
But I'm not.
Right.
Yeah, I feel left out. So I really do view those as porn, and they're awful ways to get information. And let's be honest, so many people read those magazines and get that misinformation. Another place, we all probably tell our kids, or some kids, don't trust the information that you get from your friends. Sadly, I'd be willing to bet that all of us are guilty of doing that at the same time.
And unless your friends are highly educated in human sexuality, they probably don't know any more than you do. So where can you look? Well, first and foremost, if you're experiencing any sort of significant issue that is affecting your sexual health, including your ability to experience pleasure, we recommend that you first go to your doctor and rule out anything physiological that could be going on.
Right, and after that, if there is no physical cause and you are having some sort of significant issue that's troubling you, that's interfering with your life and your happiness and pleasure, we urge you to seek out a counselor who's been specifically trained as a sex therapist. But I feel like I need to clarify that a bit because I think those of us who were around in the 80s all got some bad information about what a sex therapist is.
It was very risque.
Yeah, so what a sex therapist is somebody who does talk therapy, not touch therapy.
Not touch.
Not let's take our clothes off and talk therapy. It is simply therapy like any other else, with the exception that this is with a person who knows how to help you through these specific problems. The good news is most people don't need that level of assistance.
No, the vast majority of people simply need quality information. And a lot of us in this day and age look to online resources for that information, which is great. I mean, we all carry around a cell phone with us. It's a great way to Google or look up something quick when we have a question. The one thing that we would caution you on is there is a plethora of misinformation out there. So whenever you are looking for sexual information online, we caution you to look for more than one source saying the same thing, and look to reputable sources for your information.
Yeah, look, not just somebody made up this article and said, here are the facts. Look for how they found the facts.
Yeah.
While there is information online and we all look it up, what we recommend getting the best information from is from professional sexuality educators. What do we mean by that? So a sex educator can be, your doctor can be a sex therapist or other counselor, but they don't have to be. We're not. We are sex educators, and that means that we rely on empirically based research from scientists, from therapists, and from other educators to bring you the most up-to-date information and best practices. So how do we do that?
Well, as you've heard, we are both certified facilitators for the Our Whole Lives curriculum. You may have seen our names floating around because we were hoping to offer a course for middle school age kids, 7th through 9th grade this year. Our Whole Lives is the most current rendition of a series of curricula that's been around for the last 50 years and has been a collaboration between the Unitarian Church and the United Church of Christ.
Right. Our Whole Lives, or OWL, provides age-appropriate, comprehensive, and inclusive education about not only human sexuality, but relationships. Not just how we have sex with ourselves or other people, but how we relate to other people and how we need to treat ourselves and others.
Body image, orientation, gender identity. There's so much good information in this curriculum.
There really is. The series begins with a kindergarten / first grade book that is designed to be taught by early childhood educators or by parents, and it's our understanding that parents are usually the ones who buy that curriculum and do that education at home. After all, the parents are the child's primary sex educator. This early education, though, helps parents teach their children boundaries and bodily autonomy in order to help them identify and avoid sexual abuse.
So important.
OWL also offers additional curriculum for all ages and stages of development and
Like
growth.
the 7th through 9th grade is the one that we wanted to teach, which is the one that kind of addresses them at puberty, sexual maturation. But
There's also a 4th through 6th grade one. The 7th through 9th grade that Jen mentioned is basically a whole school year long course, meeting once a week and a couple of other things. Most of the other
Very
courses,
thorough.
it is very, very thorough. Most of the other courses are taught in one semester or less. It just really depends on how the group wants the course to go. But there's elementary, middle school, high school, even the 10th through 12th grade. And these are all taught at different levels, you know, based on the child's age and development level. There's also a young adult and, I guess, regular adult. It's adult and young adult. Curriculums out there currently, and sneak peek, early next year they are supposed to be releasing an older adult curriculum, which appeals to us because we're hitting middle age, and you know, I haven't been there yet, and I would like to know about those changes that are coming.
While OWL is taught through a secular lens, it thoroughly embraces UU values.
The ones that Chris was reading off earlier.
Yes. If there is any interest among the congregation in any part of the OWL series, I own all of the curriculum books, so if somebody just wanted to take a look at them, I'm happy to share them. And if there was interest in facilitating or teaching some of these adult workshops here for your congregation, we're happy to do it.
Right.
Well, we also, in addition to the OWL curriculum, offer short workshops, which aren't so much of a commitment. It's usually one night, a couple of hours. And we do that both locally and nationwide.
In addition to the OWL curriculum and the workshops, one other thing we offer is individual, couple, and family consultation sessions, in which our primary focus in all of our sex education is teaching people how to communicate when we get down to it. We talk to people about how to talk to their partners about needs, wants, boundaries, fears, likes. And we also delve deeply into correcting a lot of those expectations that we talked about that, you know, we're told by all those Cosmo-type magazines and popular media, you know. So we really talk about what everybody else is really doing based
Instead
on
of
that.
what we think they're doing, based on the romantic comedies and stuff.
And what we talk about is based on real research.
50 Shades of Grey is not realistic.
I detest when anyone brings that title up. So, one other thing we offer is a small part of it is product recommendations and also professional referrals. We believe very strongly that we are able to assist people in a certain number of areas, but if someone comes to us with an issue that is beyond the scope of what we do, we don't hold back or try to figure out a way to help them. We tell them this is not what we do, and we tell them what type of professional they need to seek out. And furthermore, we actually help people find, you know, the professional that they need to go to. We know a lot of professionals in the area, but also we're a part of a nationwide network of sex educators. And if there's no one here locally or, you know, within a reasonable time, we're usually able to find somebody who can do Skype conferencing or something, you know, to get information.
We're not here to sell you on us. What we're here to talk about and to urge you to do is to seek out the best information for you and your situation. We're just passionate about the importance of lifelong sexuality education because it is so vital to improving relationships, bolstering self-esteem, and ultimately saving lives. We're simply one local resource that's available to you, and we urge you to get good information and stay educated in whatever way is right for you.
Absolutely.
They mentioned that we're going to be here for the coffee hour, so if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, please, we urge you to come by and say hello, whether we've met you before or not, and ask any questions you'd like to. We don't get shocked easily. Nothing's off the table. And if you would prefer to talk later, come by, say hi, and grab one of our cards, and we'll be happy to communicate through phone or email or whatever works best for you. So thank you all for letting us be here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.